What happens at laser tag never stays at laser tag.
Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
I feel like you could be like in Ghostbusters or something.
Oh my God, you have got some stories.
Let's talk about laser tag.
Who knew you were a laser tag legend?
Time to get laser unfocused. Tag Talk with Tivia.
Welcome to Laser Unfocused Tag Talk. Hi, I'm Tivia. When laser tag is the primary entertainment attraction, a family fun center can really spotlight what they do best. I'd like to welcome my guest today, Kevin and Bronwyn Caster, who are the owners of Invasion Laser Tag in San Marcos, California, to discuss their experiences as independent operators of a thriving standalone laser tag business. Welcome to you both.
Well, thank you for having us.
Now, I love that the focus of your business is laser tag, and it's right there in the name. So tell me a little bit about the origins of the business. When and how did you first get interested in the idea of starting a laser tag business?
Well, let me start off with a little bit of background. So I have a degree in finance, and my wife, Bronwyn here, was a teacher. So it comes second nature for her to have to deal with children, which made this business to kind of dovetail in with what she was already doing. So I did the financial analysis and the feasibility analysis of whether or not laser tag would work in our area. And I kind of came to the conclusion that it would not only work, it would work well if we ran it correctly. And so we started back in 2011. The build out actually, I think, only took 6 months, which was fairly quickly. Considering most take a little bit longer than that, but yeah, about 6 months. And then we opened in August of 2011, and we've been churning away at it since. And of course, COVID came, and in California, COVID meant a 13-month closure for us. So we had to deal with being closed for 13 months. Our landlord, fortunately, is a very nice, very generous person. And loves us. So having a very good relationship with your landlord right on from the onset is a great thing to have. And that helped us survive COVID. So
definitely. Well,
yeah.
Excellent. And you're kind of jumping ahead to exactly the kinds of things I want to talk about, like the challenges that you find along the way. But I'd love to talk a little bit about your site itself. Now, I have visited your arena. It was a few years back, and I had a great time playing at your location. And I'd love to talk a little bit about the size and style of the arena and what went into your choices for it as you were deciding to build.
So I'm going to be honest, we really knew nothing about laser tag. I had played it a couple of times just as we were deciding this was an adventure that we wanted to go through. We weren't laser tag players by any means. We did have kids who were of laser tag playing age, but we didn't really have any ideas for our arena. We hired Creative Works. They pretty much came in and designed the arena. It's very symmetrical. We put in some additions, some beacons, and the reactor has a special base, and we put in some additional bases. So we have done some things. We have some more bots that we don't always use, but that actually we got from Atlantis, the Chula Vista site that closed down, gave us those. So we've definitely made some additions and moved some walls, but originally they came in at turnkey.
Yeah, so taking just a little bit of a step back, we actually had the benefit of having Eric Guthrie come out, and he's well known in the industry. And we brought him around to quite a few locations that could potentially be great for a laser tag location. Unfortunately, the location we ended up with, we didn't know was available at the time, so he never saw that. But he rated all the other locations kind of from A to F. And we ended up with this location, which is on a main thoroughfare in our town. It has about 30,000 cars that travel on it. We're about a quarter of a mile from 2 high schools, which doesn't really matter. We have a couple of colleges also in our town, which also doesn't really matter. You would think you would get a big pull from the local high schools, like from after school or from the colleges, because, when they're in session, you think we have a lot of fraternities want to come out and do stuff. And we don't get a lot of that. We get some. but nowhere near what you would think. So we ended up with our location.
We did a lot of high schoolers on the weekends.
Yeah, on the weekends.
And
not after school. It's not like an after school type of, oh, let's go play laser tag after school. Kids just want to get home and be on their phone and play video games for the most part. But so the location that we landed on is 10,000 square feet. And the design, we looked at it, the way I looked at it, it was just perfect where our arcade is going to go, where our lobby is going to be, where our party rooms are going to be, and where our arena is going to be. The arena is behind everything, and it's 5,000 square feet. And our point of sale counter can see everything in our lobby, every video game, everything. And it can also see the entrances into the party rooms. So because of that, we're able to get by, and a lot of times with 2 employees. So we're able to run efficiently with just a few employees monitoring everything. And, kids will get crazy.
On a day like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Obviously not on
but it also helps on a Saturday, Sunday, because, when kids go crazy, jumping on arcade games, those bikes and stuff, and go crazy, you can, you see it. Before it escalates and somebody gets hurt, you can step in and do something about it. But anyways, our arena is 5,000 square feet. We came up with a great design. CreativeWorks helped us design the briefing room and the vesting room. And we actually have one of the biggest vesting rooms around because there's plenty of room to vest up without bumping into people. We have changed the arena a little bit. I've gotten into the DMX lighting. We have a lot of lighting in our arena. It not only tells you what's going on in the game, thanks to our laser tag manufacturer giving us a lot of DMX triggers that we use from the game itself. But it's like at the start of the game, before you start a game, every DMX light by every base is lit up the color of that base. So as soon as somebody walks in before the game starts, they know where the red base is, they know where the blue base is, they know where the neutral bases are because the lights are showing. We have an audio announcements within the game that we can trigger. Like if there's running going on, we have pre-recorded messages about no running in the arena. We pre-recorded a message at the end of the game telling people to clip their phaser back on their vest, remember the name on the front of their vest. That has actually changed with the new Gen 8 equipment that we have. But for the most part, those instructions are valuable to people when they leave because they know what to do and where to go to exit. So we don't have to repeat that over and over again or yell it in the arena. It's audibly in the sound system from the recording that we did. And we've changed the arena around a little bit to make it a little more a lot of arenas that you play, when you have a full game, you feel it. It's packed. There's people everywhere. You can't get away from anybody. You're constantly getting tagged. And it becomes annoying at times. So I've made it a point to create little nooks and crannies where people can actually hide and tag people, and no one knows where it's coming from, and they're safe kind of for the moment right there. So that was kind of my goal, was to really tweak and dial in the arena and make it very playable. And we've got, people that have never played laser tag before to members that come every Sunday that play Space Marines. And the arena is very well balanced for Space Marines, and we get a lot of accolades from people that say, "Oh man, it's a great field it's very well designed for something like that." So it hits players coming from all different angles, new players, old players. I think one of the best parts about our arena is when you walk in, there's no real second level. There are elevated platforms because of ceiling height limitations, but you literally can see everything in the arena when you walk in. You can see all the perimeter walls. It's a big room, but you don't get lost so much. I think it is another positive aspect of it. Some people still do, but that's one of those things you want to work on flow when you're doing your games, especially on Saturdays. You want people to exit quickly because that's delaying the start of the next game. Not only do they have to find their way out, but they have to relinquish the vest that somebody else is now going to be wearing for the next game. So, yeah.
Now, one of the things that I recall from my visit was that a couple of your more neutral bases were you had bases where I would expect to find them, and then you had bases where I didn't expect to find them.
Yeah, that's right.
From above. So could you talk to that?
Yeah, so we've got 2 main bases, a red and a blue, because we run red and blue teams, and those are very distinguishable. They're in the torso of these giant robots that CreativeWorks built. And then we utilize these additional base targets from Laser Force as neutral targets. And I built these boxes that hang from the ceiling above our platform, where you have to be under it, look up, and tag it, and you can only get it from the platform. I made sure you can only get it from the platform, so you can't just be along the platform down below and hit it. And what it is it's challenging because you have to put yourself in the open to be able to tag it. So you need to make sure you clear people around you before you can get that base. So it makes it a very challenging target to get on both platforms. And that was
But they're also all over the place, which
yeah,
makes people have to kind of
and then
go
we utilize 3 beacons as well within the arena. We kind of have one in the center, and the other 2 beacons are in the opposite corners of our main bases. So we've kind of spread it out to where there's something anywhere in crucial places. We wanted to make sure the corners had something to tag, as well as the center, of course. And it's great because you can play different games. You can play a game from the platform and just be tagging people from the platform the whole time. The generator target from Laser Force will randomize the target in the center, and eventually the target will be lit on the side that you're on. So you, in theory, from just that platform, could get the base that's above you and the neutral target from the center by just waiting it out. So that was kind of by design as well, the way I put those in. And we have a fog machine that doesn't just emit fog in the background that you don't notice. It's actually part of the nuclear reactor going off effect. So when that goes off, it's saying danger, danger, lights are going on, and then a burst of fog comes in that helps fog the arena so you can see the lasers. It's not the quick dissipating fog. I tried that at first, and then I realized it's just a waste to do that because it dissipates, and you need fog anyways. So to really add that additional effect that you're looking for. So we have the fog machine react with an object in the arena.
Well, kudos on the ingenuity of putting a couple of those bases above, because that's what was most memorable to me when I visited your arena.
Very
so
cool.
That stood out, even though it's been since 2018 was when I paid my visit last. And so I'm sure a few changes have been made. In fact, you mentioned that you're on Gen 8 now with Laser Force, and you were on Gen 6 or 7, I believe.
We actually started off on 6.
Okay.
And it is very easy to upgrade from 6 to 7 if you knew how to do it. You could upgrade the boards and then run new batteries and stuff like that. So you could go to the newer Gen 7, which gave you the enhanced sound. The sound was a lot clearer, and it gave you a lot more sound effects and a lot more things you could do in the game. But the step up to Gen 8 really was a biggie, because now you can visually see what's going on that screen, on that phaser. People can see what's going on that chest plate. We've found the batteries just last forever on those things. You would think with all these displays and lights going on all day long on a Saturday, you would have a difficult time keeping the vest charged, and that's not the case. So it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, I was curious about what factors went into your decision, maybe both with the upgrade, but you were already on this manufacturer's equipment. So when you were first selecting, and you said that you didn't have a lot of background in laser tag, what are the factors that went into your decision to go that route?
Oh, to go with Laser Force versus the others? So we had a zone site in San Diego it's probably about 40 miles from us. They're not there anymore. They left during the pandemic, but they had the whole territory back when they gave out territories.
Yeah,
so zone wasn't. Yeah, we weren't able to do a zone.
We couldn't do zone, and so the next factor was, of course, durability plays into it. But we wanted to know what kids liked. So we went to a Laser Force site, and kids just loved playing it. It was easy for them. Our kids were young at the time too, but we were kind of asking about, talking to the other kids, and they just, they loved it. It was simple to understand, easy to use.
Yeah. And the site that was in Chula Vista, that's probably a little over an hour from us, was a Laser Force site. They really liked it. They were very helpful, helping us get up and running. And we just thought it'd be really perfect to, both have the same equipment.
We knew there was some redundancy there. So if there were any issues, like we needed some packs because ours aren't working or something, we could just go down there and borrow some. So that kind of helped with our decision as well. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Now, When I paid my visit, I was lucky enough to happen to land on a members night when you had some of your regular players showing up. So they were very welcoming to me as a visiting member from another arena. And I'd love to know about your audience base, your customer clientele, because you mentioned that the high schools and the college might not be that much of a factor, but do you actively work to cultivate a member scene or a competitive scene? And
No.
No, we actually don't. When we first opened, our kids were in 5th and 7th grade, and they liked playing the bonus games, the Space Marines, and all of that. And so we decided that we would make member nights kind of like their play date. So customers that were at our facility a lot, we just invited them to come play, and we made it like a play date. We would play sometimes, and that started our member base. Some of those people still come. They were there last weekend. And then when Atlantis closed down, a lot of their players started coming to our site too. We try to keep it very small. It's not something that we advertise. It's kind of an invite only.
Yeah.
Just because when you get, like the other day we had somebody came back from college and it was her birthday. And so a bunch of other members came, and there's like 20 something people. Well, as you know, it's just too many for Space Marines. So we had to go to 3. Oh, our little dog. So we had to go to 3 teams. It just makes it harder for everybody to wait. So
but
we really try to keep it not, it's not like a huge open thing. Of course, if members from other sites come, we're happy to welcome
on the plus side, we generally have a very good group of members. In fact, we have a lot of employees that have come from our member base. So currently we have at least 2 or 3 very good employees that love laser tag, love the game. They come all the time, and now they're old enough to work, and they work for us. And I think for the most part, they love the job probably. I would think. And they're also very in tune with, making sure the equipment stays safe and that kids don't go crazy and start throwing things down and things like that. So they're very protective of the equipment and the arena, and they like the job because they of course like laser tag. So that we may be kind of in the minority having that situation where we have a good member base and some of them turn into really good employees, but we're afforded that luxury. So we like it.
well, I think you probably can't do better for an employee than somebody who already has enthusiasm for laser tag and some knowledge behind them. So it sounds like you're on the right track with that. And what I remember about that members night, there's actually 2 things that stand out. I don't know if he's still a player there, but I remember Das was a player.
Yeah. Das.
Okay, I'm sorry. When I said that I play as Tivia, his first response was, "Oh, from Photon," and I just love it when somebody recognizes the reference. So shout out to him.
He was there just the other night, and he comes every now and then, not as often as he used to, because he's got quite a few things going on, and his body doesn't seem to take the punishment like it used to in playing some of these games, because we're really moving in a lot of cases, and but he shows.
Yeah, he's there on Sunday.
Quite a few, yeah.
Well, and the other thing I remember is one of your staff members, I believe it was Sean at the time. I remember I walked in as they were playing a game I was not familiar with. And I thought, well, how in the world am I not familiar with this game? And they called it Counter-Strike. And I remember being told that they made it. So clearly you're able to do some customizing and maybe you could talk to me about that, how you're creating game ideas and what keeps things fresh.
My son Sean made it, and it was Sean McMurdo, and I think it was based on the game CS:GO. And the thing about this game is it's very quick, so it's elimination. So you once you get hit 5 times, you're out, and last man standing wins. And sometimes it ends in 20 seconds, and then you go back and start again. I don't know what game they base it off of, but of course you may or may not know in Laser Force, for you to make your own game, you kind of have to base it off of either a standard game or a Space Marines game, or one of the main games that are already out there, and then you can go and make your changes to it and customize it to make it something unique, like that Counter-Strike game. That is a fun game. But it's
Yeah,
it's over
people
before
like
you know
that.
it.
Yeah.
In fact, it's over so quickly. Sometimes the scores don't even show up on the scoring monitor because there's like a 2-minute delay before the scoring monitor
Right.
shows the next round of scores. So the previous game that ends, those people can still see their scores for a while. And it doesn't go away quickly. So yeah, but yeah, we've dabbled in making some custom games. I tried an Aliens versus Predator game using an Aliens versus Predator soundtrack, which was really cool. But I never got it dialed in perfectly, so it wasn't one of the more popular games. So we never really played it that much. But yeah.
You have good notes. I can't believe you remembered that.
Well, and I remember, though I wasn't there, I remember hearing that you had done some other interesting soundtrack things. So it sounds like you do a lot of customizing of different things in your arena. Are there other examples of that you'd like to share?
I did a whole Aliens versus Predator soundtrack that ran the duration, I think, of the 10 or 12-minute game. That was really cool. I know I think I showed it off to Eric Guthrie. He was amazed by it. I know I showed it off to Jeff Schilling when he had come out. He was amazed by it. So yeah, I really enjoyed kind of throwing that stuff together. I haven't done a whole lot of that in recent years. But I really wanted to leverage the DMX lighting and audio to really engage the player in more than just the game itself, but also help them along their journey, give them information that they may not already know about laser tag, especially if they're new. And also help with the flow. So the end of our game tells people where to exit. And that makes it easier for people to find the exit. Just all the lights in the arena turn off, and one bright red light turns on, and the announcement tells you to go to the red light to exit the arena. And you can see that red light from anywhere in the arena. So that's just one of the things I utilized when I put together the DMX lighting and sound. And I had some help. I don't know if you know who Bill Mann is from Waukesha. He was very good at doing some of this stuff, so he helped me with Venue Magic. The program that we use is Venue Magic. Light Factory is the program that Laser Force usually has operators go with. But Venue Magic is one of those software packages that I want to say is used mostly for animatronics, like Chuck E. Cheese, stuff like that. But there are a lot of things you can do with it. So I got deep into that and came up with a lot of timelines and playlists that work well with the game modes. Yeah. So I kind of went crazy with it, but I haven't really done much with it since, but there's really no need because nothing's really changed a whole lot. So, and Gen 8 kind of gives you all that information as well. So there's less that you have to give the player now with the equipment, what the equipment can do.
Well, it sounds like you really think outside the box. So I'd love to know if there are maybe other out of the box ideas that you've come up with for your business, be it in or out of the arena.
Well, yeah. So one of the things this was early on, right after we first opened, a lot of places would print a piece of paper with the person's happy birthday to Johnny, and slide it into something on the party room door to designate this is Johnny's party. Everyone come on in, this is where his party is. And then you slide it out and change it for the next party. And years ago, I came up with an idea to use Google Chromecasts on TV monitors that we have positioned one above each door with animations. And my son actually got involved in doing a program in Python where the operator, like Bronwyn, could go in and say, oh, the next person's birthday is this name and he likes Pokemon, and boom, now we have an animation behind there and a happy birthday to that person on the TV screen. A lot of times we have moms that take photos of the monitor as a memento. So that's just kind of one of the things that we made to make it easier for us to set up the next party, and a bigger deal for the party guests too. When they see that, they're like, oh, this is not something I'm used to seeing. So that's one idea. I can probably think of a bunch of others, but right now nothing else really comes to mind.
Okay. Well, how about creative ways that you've approached revenue? What's your most successful revenue generating tactic?
most of our revenue comes from birthday parties. I don't know, probably what, 60-70%.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
really it's
unfortunately.
really word of mouth. We don't do any advertising. I mean, I've tried to do some marketing and advertising, and what ends up happening is it pulls people in during our busiest times, and it just adds more
Right.
chaos. So,
Right.
I mean, if I could come up with a creative way to pull people in on a
Wednesday,
Thursday night, or really do corporate events during the day, we would go after it. But anything else
Right.
that pulls people in on the weekends,
And that's when, of course, everyone wants to come.
yeah.
What are your best thoughts for increasing the party business?
Well, we only have so many spots, so
You sell out the party spaces?
yeah, we don't have that many in a day, so they're pretty much. After the pandemic, we decided to include a private games package where it's just their game. So we do one less party per time slot. We used to do like, say, we'd have 2 parties starting at 1 o'clock, 2 parties starting at 1:30. We just do now 2 at 1, 1 at 1:30, and the 1:30 one is the private. I'm just giving examples of times. So we don't have as many time slots as we used to available, because we do offer the private games package. Of course, they pay for that, but
So you find that the parties are just the thing that's most in demand, so you don't have to boost that at all?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good revenue generating tactic to
It's
me.
good.
Just do your parties well.
But as we know, things are going well now, and that has not always been the case. So currently, yeah, it's a good situation, but we've had years where it hasn't been, like any business, there's good
Sure.
years and
Yeah.
good years, and
You just got to plan for it. So,
right.
Yeah. Have a good footing.
Right.
Well, you mentioned corporate events as well. Have you had any really interesting corporate events come through your door?
Interesting court. I don't know about I mean, they're all pretty similar. Well, we did have Monster come. Monster was probably the most interesting. They were all in their 20s and very fit and hyped up on Monster. And they played laser ball, and they thought it was the best thing they'd ever done in the whole wide world. And on the second game of laser ball, have you played? Obviously, you played laser ball.
Yes, I played laser ball.
It is an amazing game. On the second game, one of the girls literally came and collapsed
from too much
exhaustion.
Oh, yeah.
Like fell down on the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
So they were by far the most memorable.
Well, my most memorable, which doesn't have much to do with laser tag, is Callaway Golf, which is a golf company that's just down the road from us. Their sales people came out and did an event and ordered way more barbecue than they could eat, and left us just racks and racks of ribs from the most delicious barbecue place in town, by the way. So I was loving that.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
They were pretty rambunctious group too, but I think they were more into the eating and the
partying.
Yeah, partying.
They were all going out after, so
yeah. So, but
they had a good time.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like still making good use of the party rooms.
Yeah.
Now, I know independent operators sometimes face unique challenges, but as you mentioned before, you had the particularly unique challenge, as many people did during the pandemic, but California had business under restrictions for a whole lot longer than a lot of other states. So could we just kind of go back to that and talk about how did you get through that challenge, and how have you seen the business change since COVID?
So obviously we were closed down. I'm a former teacher. I actually, during the pandemic, went back to teaching. I did a long-term substitute job. The very beginning of the pandemic, we believed in the, 2 weeks to
stop the spread,
the curve,
turn around, and we should be open in a few months.
So we cleaned like crazy.
Yeah.
I just was wiping down walls. I did all the windows.
Right.
We have tons of windows. And we cleaned, we did all the carpets, and we just thought, oh, we have all this time. Let's just, make it perfect. And then, we sat and sat and sat. He took apart every single vest and gave them a bow.
Yeah, you're familiar with the Gen 6, 7 vest. So I followed DeVore's method of deep cleaning and took every single vest apart and bathed each vest with the electronics off, hung them to dry, and then reassembled everything, fixing any plastic pieces that may have been cracked, and basically had ready to go almost new vests for when we reopened.
Right. So, the beginning we were hopeful, and then, it lingered and lingered. And it was, when we opened the following April. We were at, I don't even know the percentage.
Capacity
I think we were at 30% capacity. So we were just kind of doing one party at a time. And then in June it became full, but everybody didn't flock back to doing things.
No. And
so that was probably a little bit of a rough year.
I think it was to our benefit, because to be quite honest, if we had been in another state like Florida, our business would have struggled for the many months leading up to that anyways, because I think a lot of people were like staying away. So our sales would have been very low, and of course the landlord would have still wanted his full rent, and it would have been hard to get by. So it almost was a blessing in disguise that we were closed for as long as we were. It was kind of a bummer, but I think we kind of hit the ground running, and everybody just wanted to get back to doing stuff with people rather than being cooped up.
But the beginning was rough. There were mask mandates, and you had your people that refused to wear masks, and and I felt like a cop, and they were a few very difficult months.
Yeah,
for sure.
A lot of hand sanitizer.
Yeah, still a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and since reopening, what has it been like compared to before COVID?
Oh, it's almost
we're pretty busy,
and it's almost like back to normal. You've
yeah.
heard that COVID is still a thing, people are catching it, but you rarely see anybody come into our place with a mask on, and people don't mind bumping into other people or grabbing equipment that somebody else just put down. It's almost like COVID never happened, really. From
right. And you get obviously people that I had somebody call me like maybe 3 months ago when it was just everybody was talking about it again. And I just, if you're not comfortable, don't come.
Yeah,
you don't have to send your kid to a birthday party if you're not comfortable.
Yeah, but I would say that's in the very minority because we're seeing a lot of people coming in. So, yeah. And
what is full capacity for you, by the way?
What is full capacity? Well, we can run 36 in a game. In our facility, the maximum occupancy rating is, I think, 165. So.
But that wasn't from the fire marshal. The fire marshal is more like almost 300 people.
We had to get creative. So in California, going back to the design process, of course, there's a lot of back and forth with you need this, you need that. One of the things we were told we needed was 6 toilets in each bathroom. And we're like, 6? What? Well, because you're 10,000 square feet and your Class A occupancy, so that's 30 people per 1,000 square feet. So 300 people could be in your facility. So then we kind of had to convince the city, well, wait a second. This 5,000 square foot space is never going to have more than 38 people in it, 36 players, and maybe 2 marshals ever. Mm-hmm. So you got to assign 38 to that 5,000 square feet, and then we'll kind of look at the rest of it. So we were able to get that number back down to where we were okay with 3 in each bathroom, basically. So it's kind of one of those things where, you start off high and you got to get them back down and negotiate. And a lot of municipalities just aren't totally familiar with what laser tag is and what is this maze that you're playing in, and is it dangerous? Can you get out of there if there's a fire type of thing? So a lot of people we had to convince that this was safe and to get open.
It's interesting you say that. I think a lot of times there is a little bit of confusion over what these attractions really entail. So you figured out how to explain it clearly in that case. But what other challenges did you come across in the beginning that you didn't think that you would have to explain, or that maybe you wish you had known something before you got
Oh
into
my
it?
gosh.
Was the big one.
The biggest was just the city. I was there all the time. And finally, the engineer for the city was like, okay, I'm honestly tired of seeing you. Like,
Yeah.
as much as you hate coming here, I hate talking to you. So he said, here is my cell phone number. If your architect needs to talk to me on the weekend. And then he actually came in and did the inspection and was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe how beautiful it is in here. And so he was wowed by the time we were finally open. But boy, it was, I mean, literally, I was there pretty much every day with something. And they just, they don't make it easy.
No, I mean, and there's a lot of ADA compliance that you have to go through.
Yeah.
For ramps that are commonly used in laser tag to get to higher levels, those typically aren't ADA compliant, because if they were, they'd be super long ramps. So there are ways to kind of get that through the city, that but a person in a wheelchair doesn't have to play on the upper level. They get the same experience down below, and that seems to go over very well. And we've had people in wheelchairs play a lot, and they have a great time.
Yeah.
Right. There's no complaints.
Right.
So we've made sure that there's everything's ADA compliant, of course, in the arena. I think the biggest challenge, though, to convince the city that this is going to work is the maze is safe. It's not super dark in there. You can see your way out. You can see the emergency exit lights and all that. And I think they were going to require that we have 200 parking spots, thinking every single player and every single kid would be a licensed driver, would drive themselves to our facility to fill our facility up. So that was kind of a challenge in itself, to convince them we don't need that many parking spots. And we didn't. And so we don't have a parking issue in our facility.
Not very often.
No. And our center was never 100% vacant, and now it finally is 100% vacant after many years.
Full.
It
was vacant.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
0% vacancy, 100% occupancy. Yeah. Which is a first. So.
Well, very good. Well, you've certainly navigated a lot of different things, and your business is unique. And I think that one of the things that I really enjoy about businesses like yours is I really like an attraction where laser tag is the reason that you show up. And standalone laser tags for a time were more prevalent, and now we're seeing a little bit more of a trend of laser tag becoming more a piece of the puzzle with multi-attraction FEC businesses, which I think makes the distinction between that type of a business versus your standalone laser tag attraction all the more, really obvious. So I'd love to hear from your vantage point, what really makes a business like yours, where laser tag is the focus, what makes it stand apart?
Well, I would have to say the timing of when we opened was a big deal, because back when we opened, standalone laser tags were still big deals. They were happening. People were flocking to them. I think if we had to do it all over again now, we would probably reconsider a standalone laser tag. Even though we're still very successful and are still doing better than we've ever done in the past.
The bottom line is, a big guy can come in and
a main event,
knock you out of town.
Absolutely, absolutely. Big competition can come in and really dwindle your customer base. But that being said, we have a lot of loyalty. We have people coming in that said, "Oh, I remember," kids in college that come in during college break and say, "Oh, I remember I had my first birthday party here. It was the greatest thing ever." This would have been 12 years ago. So I think we have a lot of repeat customers, and there's not a whole heck of a lot to do. So, there's trampoline parks everywhere. People get tired of doing trampoline parks. We have bowling, we have movie theaters, and we have some arcades like a Dave & Buster's not far from us, but there's not a lot of laser tag. And I think people just like the interaction that comes with laser tag and the ability to put your phone down and pick up a phaser and go and try to tag your friends and anybody else you see and score a lot and and it's different. I mean,
Competitive.
it's competitive, yeah. And there's really nothing else like it. I mean, dodgeball at a trampoline park is, dodgeball, but there's laser tag is laser tag, and it's hard to mimic that. And it's been hugely successful. And I think the reason why we're still doing as well as we are is because when we opened, I think the timing of when we opened and what was going on at the time as far as competition, there were only a couple laser tags in San Diego County. And then I think it got up to 7 in total in San Diego, including us, which was a pretty good number. And now it's just down to a few, maybe 2, depending on how you look at it. But yeah.
Well, I love that, you're still doing your thing. You're still putting the focus on the game that you hit the nail on the head. All of those reasons, particularly getting kids off of the screens. Now, we like the screens that are on the vests and whatnot, but getting them off their phone screens is so important. And Bronwyn, as a teacher, I'm sure you can appreciate all the benefits to the kids. What are some of the things that you really try and stress as the health benefits or the social interaction? What are some of the things that you really kind of emphasize there?
Well, honestly, one of the reasons I wanted to do laser tag was because when kids get to that certain age where they don't like their parents anymore, it's something that you can, especially boys, you can't, because we have boys, something that you can do with your kids. There's not a whole lot of things they want to do with you anymore, but it is something. And I love when I, have a bunch of dads in there that are all running in, playing with their kids. So just the thought that it is something that families can come and do. My favorite memory is I had this little boy and he was standing by the entrance and they were going in for the birthday party, and it wasn't his birthday party, but he's screaming, "My dad's gonna come play! My dad's gonna come play!" He was so excited that his dad, was gonna come play.
Aww.
So, that's for me is, the connection more than anything is, their parents being able to play with them.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a game unlike almost anything else that you're going to find out there. And so it's really cool when you see those intergenerational connections being made too.
Exactly. Awesome. And we let the mom and dad play for free for birthday parties. And, sometimes people are like, "No, we definitely don't want to play." And I'm like, just go in there. If you don't like it, walk out the door. And a lot of times they'll come to me and go, "Thanks for making me play. I actually really liked it. I had no idea." They're like, "I would come back and play with my friends." So, you don't know. You don't know until you try.
Absolutely. Now, you said 12 years you've been in business at this point? Is that 12, 13?
August of 2011.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So roughly 13, but we kind of factored that COVID.
Well, no,
we kind of factored that COVID year out. I mean, but yeah, we're going on 13.
Okay. Well, we all had that same year, so we get that.
Yeah.
But 13 years, still going strong. If you could impart some words of wisdom to new operators from your years of experience, what advice would you offer to them?
I think one of the best things we do, I don't know if concessions is the right word, but we're not nickeling and diming customers.
Oh, yeah.
If we see somebody's having a bad day or struggling or just didn't have a good laser tag game, right, and it's a kid or is kind of scared, she'll give them tokens. Here's some tokens. Or somebody comes out and they're the last man standing in a zombies game during an all-you-can-play session. What do you want to drink? Free drink, So there's a lot of handing out stuff that doesn't cost us that much that is a big deal to the customer that doesn't put us out much. Right. So
you get a slushie when you win,
and
zombies and they're thrilled.
Yeah, and it's those things that they leave your facility on a good note. I don't know if can you even count on one hand how many people have left our place?
Yeah, I mean a few. But I'm not afraid to give free things. I'm not afraid to
Give refunds.
give a refund.
Give a refund.
If you don't let my kid came out, they didn't like laser tag.
And
No worries. Come back next year. They'll probably like it.
And
I refund it all.
And
the
if
game they played and the
or if a family comes and the kid ends up being a little too scared of playing all you can play laser tag, but the rest of the family wants to play the remaining night, here's a refund and here's a bunch of tokens to play the video games while your family is playing the rest of the night. You know,
do we make as much as we could? No. But we do have, happier people, and I'm not afraid to.
Yeah. And
if we're really busy on our all you can play, I go around giving people tokens because you're waiting a long time. And then they're like, oh, that was really nice. Thank you.
And I think the word gets out, and that's why we don't have to do any marketing or advertising, because it just spreads. Like,
when I go to a place that says absolutely no refunds.
It's like, okay, so why would you need to put a sign like that up? Is it subpar customer service or a product that you're offering? You kind of wonder that. So that's one good word of advice. I think it goes a long way when you offer that. And I'm there. I think a lot of people open this kind of a business and they think, oh, I'm going to get a manager in there, which would be awesome. I'm the manager, unfortunately. So of course that makes life a lot cheaper. But I do think it's one of those businesses that you have to man yourself. I mean, I just think when I look around at the most successful businesses in the country, it is, Devore. He's there all the time. He's got managers, but he's on site. He knows what's going on in his facility. No, he doesn't do everything like I do. I'm probably dumber than I should be, but he knows he's got a pulse on there. He knows what's going on in there. That's and I definitely think that is huge. I think that if you think you're going to open this business and hire a couple of kids and a manager, and it's going to run itself, it's not the business for you. You have to have a passion for it, and it has to show. So when you're behind that counter, it has to show. Right. So you have to be able to tolerate kids running around screaming, even though it's annoying. You can't. Yeah. Sometimes I have more patience than other days. Yeah. And, she'll tell me, oh my God, I wish that kid would stop screaming. And it does bother me too, but it's like, but they're being kids. And it's like, their parents are here. And, as long as they don't break something or get out of control, then it's not the end of the world, So, yeah.
Well, I think those.
I don't have the patience I had 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, those things that you're describing, I think not only do they make people feel appreciated, which I think comes back around full circle, but definitely you're on track that, you got to have that presence there to really be on top of things. And I think that adds a personal touch that, teenagers can be great employees, but there is a difference when that there's somebody who's really passionate about their own business, and I'm sure that does come back around with the appreciation factor. You put good out there, and good comes back to you.
And there is another piece.
Oh,
you want to make sure. Well, this is just my nature, but I like to make sure everything's always working.
Yes.
So our laser tag packs should always be working. And if they're not, I've got them working again. Video games the same way. We rarely have an out of order sign on a video game. If it requires a special part I have to order, then so be it. We get it in. But it's up and running in no time, and everything is generally always working. And I love pinball machines. And pinball machines are some of the hardest games to work on because they require a lot of maintenance, and things go out on them all the time because there's a lot of moving parts, and you've got a big steel ball that's hitting a lot of things in there. And I keep those pinballs in top-notch condition, and we have people coming in all the time that just love playing them because they're perfect or near perfect. So, so we get people that have no interest in laser tag that are constantly coming through the door and just love playing those pinball games. So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, you've certainly given a lot of insight to ways to run a successful business, and being there in Southern California and doing what you're doing for that long. It was a real treat for me to get to experience your business, and I hope other people get that experience as well. I love to end things with a little bit of rapid fire tag talk, some quick questions at you and some quick questions back. Would you guys be game for that?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. And since I've got two of you, here's my rule when there's more than one. You both answer, but you can't take the same answer.
Okay, so gotta change it if
Okay.
you say this. Okay.
So, all right. First thing, most unusual event or party that you've ever hosted?
The furries.
The furry?
Yeah, I mean
He's not there as
I'm
much
not
as
going
I
to have
am.
the right answer to that, but yeah, the furries. We had the furries, the people that like to dress up in the furry costumes. A couple times they asked if they could come in and do a laser tag event, and sure, and they did, and so they played laser tag in their
Furry
outfits.
costumes?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to pause on this because I've only had one experience where I've come across that at laser tag. And in that particular instance, the arena chose not to do it in costume because of the size of the vests and whatnot. So how did you maneuver putting vests on over a costume?
Maybe it wasn't as big of an issue.
Ours have big
It goes over the head.
It could go.
So
they may have taken the heads off and then put the heads back on.
Yeah. I mean, that was a while ago.
No,
well, you know what? And you're right, because the gear you have is over the head as opposed to a vest. I guess I could see how that, would lend itself to it.
Yeah, so it's just, and it goes pretty far out wide. So if you got a big costume, maybe they didn't clip the clips on the side, but they could still play.
Boy, I hope you got photos.
I'm wondering how the heat sensors worked, if they had gloves on at all, or if they just had
what?
But that's interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Because usually those costumes also have something for the hands.
We may have had to do one-handed. I don't remember.
We have had to do one-handed, yeah.
Still, I haven't heard that answer before. So.
He was probably in his 90s that was playing. His hands were so freezing cold that they didn't heat the
heat sensor didn't pick them up.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They're freezing.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I think you win with most unusual event there. What is the coolest place you've ever played laser tag other than your own arena?
Divorce.
Stratum HQ in Arizona was unbelievable.
Yeah,
it looked like Disneyland Main Street when you walked in.
Yeah,
and I'm so bummed that they closed, because they were incredible. They had the largest arena, I think, in the world, and their lobby was just second to none. It's sad to see something like that close.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I was able to experience it.
Have you ever been there?
Oh, yes. I've been to both places, and I agree with both of your answers. Divorce places I love because, nostalgia of the photon homage going on all throughout there. And Stratum, I love the arena, but what I really remember about Stratum is the vortex going into the arena. That was always my, not even going into the arena. I think it was between the briefing and the vesting room, but I liked that very much.
I forgot about Stratum.
But hey, Divorce, and we went to laser tag at Baton Rouge literally days before the COVID closure, because we were at Amusement Expo in New Orleans, and then he never reopened again.
So he glad that you had the experience there.
He had sold that building, so yeah. So that we basically were some of the last people to play there. So
yeah.
Oh, it's funny you say that, because I was there that year also, except I ended up playing at the Metairie location.
Yes.
Yeah, we went there too. Right before COVID.
Yes. It was like literally the week of the days that it was breaking.
I felt strange being on Bourbon Street, because it was getting a little close. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but things are going to change. And it was really strange going into those bars with this COVID thing looming. And yeah,
it was a strange time, but I'm glad you guys had the opportunity. And I'm glad I had the opportunity.
I'm glad I was there
when that was the case.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, coolest person that you've ever met through laser tag?
Phil Mickelson.
Okay.
But Troy Polamahu comes to our place a lot. He's the guy with the long hair in the commercial, but his hair is always tight in the back, so he can't recognize him. We've had Drew Brees' family come, but Phil Mickelson for sure, because I got to play laser tag with Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I told my son, I said, do not bump into him. He's got a major this week.
Oh, I got it.
Uh-oh.
Shannon McMillan.
Soccer player.
She's a U.S. Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We've had quite a few Olympians. There's a lot
Yeah.
of Olympians actually in San Diego area.
And
More, I think,
skateboarders.
yeah, more than any other state is California
Yeah.
has. So
I love these stories. Whenever I talk to people from California, they always have the celebrity stories to share. So that's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite game format?
laser ball.
I like Space Marines the most, but Laser Ball is a close second. That's a great game. It's a great game.
Yeah.
All right. So you're both
All
going
these
towards a
different-
real competitive lean there.
For sure. For sure. A standard
Yeah.
game is a little bit boring to me, but I'll play it. I mean,
I'm
I mean,
okay with
it's-
standard.
I feel like I'm just cleaning everyone's block in a standard game because if it's against just normal customers, I
Make
feel
yourself a
bad.
9.
I know. Well, I do, but still. Yeah.
All right. Favorite energy drink to keep you on the move?
I don't think
She
either of us
doesn't do energy drinks, but
Coffee.
Celsius
counts.
is probably my go-to.
Okay. Favorite brand of We Never Run in the Arena shoes?
Brooks.
So that means favorite shoes to wear while playing, whether or not you're running.
Well, we never run in the arena. So whatever
Oh.
else you're doing,
Brooks or my
what
fit
shoes are you
flop.
wearing when you do it?
I would say
My fit
the Hokas are probably the best because of the cushioning. In a lot of arenas, it's a hard floor. So Hokas are great for that. They're great for conventions, walking those floors, and they're just that's my go-to.
Fit
Good pro
flops.
tip. What was that?
Fit flops. They're like the fit flops, but they're cushioned.
Gotcha. Okay, you really can't run in the arena with those. All right. And final question. Best reason to play laser tag at Invasion Laser Tag?
Best reason.
Her, because she's behind the counter. You get to,
Go
the
visit
nicest
Bronwyn.
person. Yeah, you get to work with
I don't
deal
know
with the
about
nicest person
nicest
behind the counter.
person.
Well, yeah, and the arena's
Yeah,
pretty
the
good.
arena's great.
The arena's pretty good.
A fun time.
Absolutely.
Laser Force is a
And I
great
keep-
system.
and I keep that equipment in tip-top shape.
Yeah,
So
that's definitely why.
you know that if you have an issue, let me know, and then it's going to be fixed. So
Well,
yeah.
it's
You should
great.
come back when you come
Yeah,
to
you should come back.
California.
I may just have to get to California before too long. I'll try and make my way back to the West Coast, but I'm so glad that I had the opportunity the time that I did. It worked out so beautifully to I think I was coming by way of San Diego. And so you were perfectly in my path for a great experience. And I do hope other people get to have a similar experience. It's great to chat with passionate operators who have been at it for a while and have lots of great tips to kind of pass along and keep the community growing. So I thank you both so much for taking some time to talk with me about your business. That's Kevin and Bronwyn Caster, owners of Invasion Laser Tag in San Marcos, California. Thank you for joining me for some Laser Unfocused Tag Talk.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you for having
Tivia.
us.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Laser Unfocused Tag Talk. Listen for more episodes on the first and third Friday of each month. Want to be a guest on an upcoming episode? Find out more and follow my blog and website at TiviaChickLovesLaserTag.com.